If you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know that the anime space looked completely different than it does now, right? I grew up personally with Teletoon at Night and YTV specifically showing me shows like Inuyasha and Dragon Ball Z, Zatch Full Metal, and you never really watched things in order. Everything was a rerun and you just happened to catch things, right? I was kind of a sicko. I used to go downstairs and watch things while everybody was asleep at like 3 volume, just like right in front of the TV. And that was the only way I really consumed my anime content. But fast forward to the 2020s, everybody got hit with COVID and everything changed, right? Everybody started watching anime like crazy on Netflix, Crunchy, Disney Plus, and so forth. And now we're at a point where we've got an absolutely phenomenal anime like Demon Slayer that has topped the charts globally. I'm talking about beating Superman, beating Fantastic Four, and is now the highest grossing movie of the year. That is absolutely insane. And not only has it beaten titans in the industry like Fantastic Four and Superman in terms of intellectual property, it managed to actually beat Pokemon's 20-year record. That's nuts. And just off of that alone, I don't understand this argument that we get nowadays where people will hit you with the anime is too childish, anime is really stupid to watch, or it's cartoons or this and that. And in my opinion, if you're still using that argument in today's culture or today in society, whatever you want to say, you're an idiot, you're foolish, and you're dismissing some of the greatest content to be coming out today. Now, specifically in this video, I'm gonna be talking about the Demon Slayer movie in depth, because the actual things that this movie has been able to accomplish, in my opinion, is insane. Okay, now don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people that's in the camp of like Demon Slayer is not an insane story. Like, truthfully speaking, the story is relatively mediocre, mid, if you want to say whatever. I actually read the manga back when the manga was coming out weekly, and I was getting, honestly, to a certain point, I was just like, when is it gonna end? Like, what's the story, whatever, because I thought that the scaling of things and the way that characters were laid out, and everyone's favorite argument about that the Demon Slayer breathing tech is not real, like you don't see it, and I think that honestly was stupid, and it really took away from the mysticism and the cool actual visuals of the show. That aside though, if any other studio was to animate and do Demon Slayer, it would suck. Okay, it would absolutely suck. We as a community need to give the flowers to Ufotable. I grew up watching a lot of Ufotable animes in the past. Okay, my favorite, obviously, and I think a lot of people agree on this, Fate Zero was one of those insane shows, right? The actual sound design and actual like story, Fate had a kind of complicated story to it, but it was insane to watch. And Ufotable brought that quality and then some to Demon Slayer. And I will continue to say this day in and day out, that the only reason I watch Demon Slayer, the only reason that I consume this story in itself, is Ufotable. Ufotable is nuts, okay? And for me, watching this movie was a top 5 experience. I happened to go with my homie, me and him, we were just chilling watching the movie, and like I was locked. I was honestly locked in for 2.5 hours. Yes, the backstory could have been laid out better, with Akaza and stuff like that. I'm not gonna really get too nitty gritty into the details, because the point of this video is for me to get you guys to start watching anime at the end of the day, right? If it be the Demon Slayer movie, if it be something else, I don't really care, right? But if we're talking about visuals, if we're talking about like this movie as a whole, Demon Slayer was just nuts. Okay, Kaigaku versus Zenitsu was insane, obviously, right? Akaza versus Giyu and Tanjiro was absolutely mental, and then some, right? And there were a lot of heartfelt emotional moments in the show as well, right? Or I should say movie. I keep saying show because obviously this movie is a continuation of the show. But man, when Zenitsu was kind of on the brink of the afterlife. I know I wasn't gonna talk about details, but I gotta talk about this specifically. When Zenitsu is in the afterlife and kind of on the brink, and you know, he sees Gramps and he has his moment and he says his words, and Gramps just hits him with a "You're my pride and joy," man. It made a grown man want to cry in the movie theaters. I must be so for real. I was about to go down on my knees, man. I was broken. I was like, "Are you?" That was it. That was just like the sprinkle on top of Akaza's backstory. Akaza's backstory, in my opinion, was insane. Obviously, I think it's top 5 saddest backstories in anime. Probably, you know. Everybody likes to have those lists. I don't know if I really have a list yet, but that in itself was nuts. Okay. If we're talking about what was it justified what Akaza did, and then some. Okay, it was 100% justified. 100%. If that was me in his situation, I'm going buck. Okay, not just the dojo, village, surrounding village, Muzan. Everybody's catching bodies. I do not care. You just took my wife from me. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? And the only man, my dad decided to commit suicide, and this guy that I happen to meet gives me a new chance at life and is like a new father figure, and now you guys took him too? You jealous bums? Yo. Sad as fuck, right? All the little nitty gritty details about Akaza's character that people have broken down on TikTok, about how a lot of the symbolism of him as a demon reflect back to his wife. Dude, insane, right? Honestly speaking, like, this movie has its moments with the actual action where it's getting close to Tengen versus Gyutaro for me. Gyutaro, wow, you know who I'm talking about. All right, Entertainment District, that was nuts. That is still till this date my favorite fight in the show. Tengen is underrated, underappreciated. The man protected Zenitsu, Inosuke, Tanjiro, his 3 wives, a bunch of innocents, and fought 2 demons at the same time, and came out with just an arm lost. Okay, that's fine. I'm completely cool with that. That's cool because the guy was nuts. Okay, and it's some of my favorite fluid motion anime. When we're talking about just fluidity, Ufotable killed it. Ufotable absolutely killed it, and they brought that into this movie and refined it even better. Like, it was genuinely insane to watch this, to then sit there and then be thinking about the fact that this is an anime movie. Like, it was nuts in my opinion. Like, these action sequences were on par, if not better, than stuff we're getting in the MCU, stuff we're getting in regular action movies, right? And I think that's the beauty of anime, is that we're able to accomplish things that just you can't do in real life. Like, it's just not feasible, for the sake of, one, things start to look corny and you know, it's not really cool, and 2, like, just the colors and the visuals that you can get in anime, you just honestly can't accomplish in real life. It just doesn't hit the same to me personally speaking, right? I think a lot of people would agree with me there on that aspect, that's why, like, anime is just such a perfect medium, right? We can have these gut-wrenching, really, like, impactful stories that really hit you, and you get attached to these characters on top of these beautiful visuals and this amazing sound design in terms of the actual action and the clashing of the swords and the moves. Anime is here to stay, right? It's the future and then some. We're getting collaborations with big brands like No Tomorrow, and nowadays kids are consuming anime at an unparalleled rate. I don't see kids talking about cartoons like I used to talk about cartoons growing up, me personally, right? Like, I obviously consumed Dragon Ball Z and Inuyasha, like the shows I mentioned earlier, but I also watched a lot of other cartoons growing up, man. I love TMNT. I used to love, like, Bakugan and Dagata Defenders and all these, like, obscure ass cartoons that I used to watch on TV. I used to love it. I used to Johnny Test and Jimmy Two Shoes, right? I used to watch that stuff on top of anime. I was just addicted to TV. I'll be completely honest. I think a lot of people would agree with me there. But nowadays, I think anime is superior and is gonna continue to be superior because these Western animation houses like DreamWorks and Pixar are too busy staying in their safe little lanes. And I think with anime, the beauty is that like these guys really push the limits, and they really push the possibilities of what they're doing with the mix of now CGI and 2D anime. Like, it's so fluid. Inside Demon Slayer, it was some of the most fluid just work ever. There were moments where I was looking at the 3D scenes and I was like, dude, this looks like mint. This is crispy. So honestly, to wrap up this little like rant slash commentary type of video, which I'm honestly going to be making a lot of here on this page, right? If you guys like this type of stuff, make sure you guys hit that like button. You know, you guys already know what to do. You guys have been using YouTube for years. All right, lock in with your boy. I'm gonna be pumping out videos left, right, and center, talking about some of our favorite series, not only just from anime but from TV shows, from game series, whatever you guys literally want me to chat about. If there's even topics out there, drop them in the comments down below. I'm down to yap. That's my best skill out here. All right, and I really want to, you know, connect with some community out there that is in the same lane as me. Right now, of course, there's a bunch of new anime movies that are also coming out in the next couple of months as well, with Chainsaw Man and I believe JJK as well. So I'm definitely going to be watching those. I'll definitely have my point of view and my opinion on those out as well. But as of now, man, it's your host Maj. This is Maj's room, and I will see you guys in the next video. A little hint, it's about the greatest story ever told, and it's not even done yet. Okay, I think a lot of you guys can guess what it is, but just lock in, and it's gonna be a great video too. I hope you guys have a great night. Peace.